And we're back. Uh, I think this is the first time in a long time we're actually like on schedule. Like the day we said we're gonna do this, we're actually doing it. Today's a Friday. I haven't uh, recorded on a Friday in a while, so um, but I got the urge to do it, and I figured why not? It's always good to be able to share spaces, well, share this particular space um, with you and have the opportunity to engage in creativity. And um, I think I said this last week. The last few weeks has been interesting. It's getting even more interesting as time progresses, and I'm excited to see what happens, how it unfolds, and ultimately what the other side of these moments look like, and it's something that I'm looking forward to. And as always, I mean I've never been shy of sharing these experiences with you. So I anticipate that at some point we're gonna have a conversation, or within our conversation it'll come up. But let's do what we normally do and start off with an exercise in mindfulness. Again, focus on your breath. Um, I prefer your eyes closed. I think there's a next level that is untapped or is achieved when we perform this exercise with our eyes closed. So I'll ask you to close your eyes 10 seconds, focus on your breath, starting now. And as always, just something to kind of get your minds going and in preparation for the conversation. Um, a man and his boss have the same parents but are not siblings. How is this possible? A man and his boss have the same parents but are not siblings. How is this possible? Uh Today, the last few days has been interesting. I have been interesting, and I feel like I've said that a lot recently, but it has. Maybe there's a lot of interesting things happening all at the same time. Um, I've been around other people who are active in their creativity, and I say that as opposed to saying I've been around creative people, because I mean, if you've if you've been around these conversations long enough, you will realize that we believe that everybody is creative to some capacity. It's innate to us, creativity, that is. And it's whether or not we're actively pursuing our creativity, or seeing it manifest, and we're intentional about living in our creativity. And those are the ones that I guess society deems as being creative. But I've been around a lot of people who are active in their creativity, and um, it's interesting because yesterday I had a conversation with someone, and in the conversation I had asked her if she thinks she's creative, and she said something that uh, I've preached um, many times on this particular platform, um, that we are all innately creative. Matter of fact, I just said it at the top of uh, this conversation. Um, Creativity is innate to human beings. So when I had asked her, uh, does she feel like she's creative? She says, I think we're all creative. I think creativity is a part of who we are in our makeup. And this was one of the first times I've actually heard somebody say the thing that I've been saying for a while. And I'm like, it was almost like I was hearing myself. But she admit that her creativity doesn't take shape in the form of the arts, which again, something else that I've said before on a few occasions. She wasn't sure where her creativity lies, but I think she was conscious that she wasn't necessarily living in it. And we talked about different things that she's actively doing, which I think was pretty cool. But I think where I'm trying to get to in this conversation is this idea that our creativity, is it truly meant for us, or is it for other people? And how I got to that is because ultimately what generally like happens if you're really good at something, and if you are in a setting where you're being paid for this thing, at some point you realize, hey, I can do this on my own, and I don't necessarily need this infrastructure around me. I can do this for myself, and it'll give me the freedom and flexibility and creative control to be able to do it myself. And you take on, whether it's entrepreneurship or commission work, independent work, and you start doing that, and you ultimately make a decision to say, rather than creating for this entity, I want to create for myself. And if in creating for myself, I can create for others, but it's directly through me, then maybe that's the avenue I want to take. And that's always a difficult decision to make. I know a lot of people who are still kind of trapped in indecisiveness as to what that could possibly look like. And there's a lot of creative people. And I say, again, creative meaning active in their creativity. And I had that dilemma myself, and a few years ago, actually. And it was a turning point for me professionally and personally, because where I was, it wasn't that I wasn't in I wasn't in a creative space. It was just not to the level of creativity that I wanted. I felt like I had more capacity for creativity, and the role or the roles that I held, it was only surface level a surface level of creativity. And then it took some internal reflection from me. I questioned my own self. I questioned the position I was in, the title I held. And this is kind of at a time where I was more conscious of my purpose. And I've always believed that, and I've said this on here as well, that your true purpose is a selfless act. And I've always wanted to influence. I've always wanted to inspire. And I've always wanted to have impact in some capacity. And I've been intentional about that the moment I became conscious of it. And I'm saying that because for a lot of us, how we decide or how we ultimately come to the decision as to whether or not we're going to use our creativity for us or for other people, one of the questions that we honestly have to answer is, what motivates you? Like, what motivates you to want to be creative? And this is a question that I unexpectedly had to answer this particular week. I had a conversation in the middle of the week, and somebody approached me wanting to leverage my creativity and my ability to innovate, which is how my creativity takes shape. Wanted to leverage that to solve maybe one of the biggest challenges or opportunities that I could ever ask for. And it made me think, and he asked, like, Well, one, like, if you think about this potential thing, what about it would be fascinating for you? And I thought about it, and then it had me question my own motivation and like what drives me when it comes to creativity and innovation and impact, and the ability to inspire, not only from the work that I created, but or the work that I continue to create, but also that it has the potential to influence someone else to also be creative and also be innovative. So it's like this never-ending cycle, this lasting cycle of creativity and innovation. And I think creativity has this ability to continuously inspire in a never-ending loop, in an infinite loop. And I want to be able to uh, take whatever inspiration I've gotten to this point, and channel it to inspire someone else, and for that cycle to continue going. Even though we've we've attempted to debunk this idea of inspiration being needed to be creative, but as I was answering that question and thinking about that, I realized one thing: it's rarely do you get opportunities as a creative to have a platform or a problem that can potentially impact the masses in a singular swoop. I think for a lot of us that have been designing or creating for ourselves, we understand that there's some fulfillment there from personal fulfillment, some the joy that comes with being able to create for yourself. And there's sacrifices with that because it might not necessarily be as lucrative as you'd want it to be, but it gives you creative control. It gives you freedom to be creative. It takes away limitations and boundaries, and it allows you to kind of maximize the potential of your creativity without the constraints. And we've talked about constraints before, how that could possibly aid in design, because it if you're solving for problems, the more problems you have, the greater the design and the creativity has to be to work around them. But I'd ask myself, if I'm truly here to inspire, if I'm truly here to bring, to impact the people, and it is indeed a selfless act, then I have to continue to search for opportunity that gives me the biggest platform, an opportunity to do that without compromising my creative integrity, my personal integrity, and anything like from a creative standpoint, morality wise. As long as I'm not compromising that, if an opportunity presents itself that I can impact more, I don't want to say with less, but with my current toolkit, I think those are opportunities that I think I would gravitate towards. And that was something that I honestly was thinking about, because for a lot of us, we take on personal projects because I guess there's less pressure to deliver. There's less pressures on outcome, and I think there's a level of convenience that happens when you're just creative, or being creative for something that is either a passion project or just something that you're doing for yourself. And I think most of us as creatives, we'd want to just kind of stay in that realm of the freedom to just create based on your own not intention, but your own desires. Like there's no guidelines. There's nobody over your shoulder telling you, hey, do it this way, do it that way, or it needs to be done by this time. And I think those are the purest, that opportunity creates the purest form of art. It allows you to, I think it is the epitome of your creativity and the creative process, because again, it's almost like a free flowing, free flying experience. But unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, we have obligations, we have expectations, and we have burdens, right? And they could be financial, they could be relationships, they can be, I mean, you name it. I mean, I don't have to go through a list of what is burdensome to us right now, or to anybody, and if we are supposed to survive, then for a lot of us, we have to lend our creativity to someone else, or to another organization, or to some other entity. And I think if it's purely money driven, I don't know that it is successful or it is fulfilling. And I think it could be more draining and more have more of a negative impact on you and your well-being when compared to the alternate, where you are just this aspiring creative, or this independent artist that is trying to just survive off their own creativity. But the reason I said earlier in this conversation, it's identifying like the things that motivate you and the things that you're passionate about, and the impact that you want to leave, and how do you want to be remembered, and is connecting to others, is helping others, is creating opportunities, creating ways to inspire, to share love, to spread love. If those things are important to you and those things drive your creativity, then designing for others can be a gateway to that. And you have to be intentional about the type of entities and organizations and individuals you lend your creativity to. And I feel like if there's an opportunity for you to expand your reach, an opportunity for someone to fund, to breathe life into your ideas, to give you an opportunity to connect to individuals who you think need your creativity and your art. I always find opportunities like that, like, not only fascinating, but it is it's almost like an aid, or a gift of some sort, if it aligns with what your ultimate goal is. And again, even as I'm saying this, it just sounds like there's this unicorn opportunity that exists, that's awaiting for you. And I think it's almost like relationships. It's, as much as I think it's all psychological, individuals are who they are, but if there is enough, we can convince ourselves that they are everything that we want them to be. And I think even when we talk about the things we do professionally, or in business, I think any opportunity could be the right opportunity and be the opportunity of your dreams, if you truly believe that. I would always say this though, if you find yourself in this dilemma and making a decision as to whether or not, well, one, understanding is your creativity a gift for yourself or for other people, um, and whether or not you are willing to share that gift with others, or is it one of those things where you kind of want to keep to yourself and it's self-satisfying and self-gratifying? Um, but I would ask you to think about, how do you see your creativity impacting the world? Do you even see it impacting the world? What drives your creativity? What drives innovation? What drives your relationship to art? And if it's purely self-fulfilling, then continue to just allow it to be that, right? Just design and create for yourself. But if you think it is connected to a higher purpose, then it is on you to seek opportunities that gives you the platform to be able to reach the people that you ultimately want to reach. And reflecting on that could be challenging sometimes, because sometimes we don't even want to hear our own thoughts. But I think it's in these reflections that we find ourselves. We find our true calling. We find our purpose, and we cannot avoid it. And you cannot run from destiny. Neither can you doubt it. So ask yourself what is important to you. And I understand that there are sacrifices, there are compromises that need to be made. And as I'm saying, I understand. I hope you understand as well. I think the idea of perfection has crippled us as creatives, crippled us as a society, and we're looking for opportunities and relationships that in reality are merely unicorns and figment of our imaginations. And I'm not saying that these opportunities don't exist. I'm saying that they will be whatever you want them to be. It's purely subjective and purely your psychological approach to it. That is it. I don't want to extend this out. But it's just something that, like I said, over the last few weeks I've been thinking about, and every time I have something is pressing, I use this platform to kind of share with all of you guys. So I'll end how we started. It was, a man and his boss have the same parents, but are not siblings. How is this possible? He is self-employed. That's how it's possible. He is his own boss. I will leave you how I always leave you. And that is my only ask every time I do leave you. And it is that you go be great.